Dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I'm glad you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. Now, I'd like to start this session as usual by appreciating your support so much for allowing YOLENO TV to grow. If you wish to support us, please just hit the subscribe button and then you can hit the like button. Now, I've received numerous communications from most of my loyal subscribers regarding issue of this Camargo server. Someone sent to me an email telling me that what if these guys are already deleting the details in the server? It is possible for that to be done. They can decide to remove the details so that you don't find anything in that server, but then they'll be forced to replace them with other details. But even if they do replacement, the server will still tell the date of that replacement. So it is for that reason that I decided to do some small research on this issue, because as a loyal subscriber, I had to respond to this matter. So I want us to have a sober analysis here, a sober conversation on this issue, and I expect you to please share out your feedbacks below the comment section there. So as to whether it is possible to delete details, delete the logs, the answer is yes. So from my small research, deleting a log file permanently removes the file from the server. You will not be able to view log data from the deleted files anymore. But again, these logs can recreate themselves as long as server space is still available. That is what I got from my small research. So the question also, the same question, another question is, are log files safe to delete? And then the answer was, in almost all cases, yes. These log files, let me just break it down for you. When I access, a server, like upload a form, in that server, something like a message will be generated that I uploaded as a file, a Form 34A from polling station X, probably within Magongo, Bokole polling station, and I'm the one who uploaded it on a particular date and a particular time. That is the log that tells, that's the log, There will be another storage part for these forms, the source documents. I don't want to talk much about it, but this is more or less a continuation of what we discussed 2 to 3 days ago. But they will register that message that I uploaded the form, and the form ID will be there. It is more or less like a metadata of that transaction. So as to whether these log files are safe to delete, of course, what people say is that if there is no case, there is no court case, everything is okay, then sometimes they can be deleted. But as we speak right now, everything is not okay. So Smartmatec will make a terrible mistake if they attempt to delete that log file, because as we speak, RAILA Amolo Odinga has not thrown in the towel. That means anything can happen going forward. This case has not been closed. So Smartmatec shall have made a terrible mistake to remove those log files, despite the fact that they can as well always recreate themselves, but then there is a possibility of losing certain transaction details. There is something I will touch on, but before we get there, let's still continue this issue. So, like I was answering, the question is whether is it safe to delete the logs? The answer was yes, but not all the time. So the only exception, to that response is that can come to mind if there is some violation of some company policy. Certain places require logs to be maintained for a certain amount of time for various reasons. It may be an insurance requirement for things like ransomware coverage, for instance. So this again brings us to another point, ransomware. So what is this ransomware? According to research, it is a form of malware, a distraction, an app for distraction designed to encrypt files on a device. When you encrypt files, then you can't read them. You block them. They are there, but you block them. They can't be readable. They are not readable. You can't read which form, if for instance, if I've uploaded a form and then there is this kind of ransomware attack on the transaction, the message that I talked about, the message that says form X was uploaded from polling station Y on a particular date. If this ransomware attack is experienced, then that transaction will be encrypted. Even if our own Azimio ICT expert, that is John Joroge, is allowed access to it, and there is that kind of ransomware attack on that log, he will not be able to tell what happened because the files itakuwa ziko encrypted. When something is encrypted, ni kitu kimefichwa, huwezi ona details za ndani. Unaona kama kuna file lakini ukifungua haiwezi. So you realize that according to research again, malicious actors always demand for ransom in exchange for decryption. When you decrypt that file, now you make it, you make it readable. You've decrypted it. You encrypted it, you made it not possible to read. Now you've decrypted it, now you can read it. So that is still on these log files. So we were talking about whether log files are safe to delete. We said it is yes, it's okay. But what if they are deleted? I mean, if they are deleted, they can pose a challenge if at all there is a case like this one, because they are saying that the logs are the only assurance requirement for you know for issues like issues zikitokea kama size za Smartmatec size ambayo Raila Amolo Odinga anasema hapana mpaka server itokee iangaliwe, na kama hii server haitaangaliwa, that means we will not be able to solve this myth once and for all. And if the server ikiangaliwa and then we find that there is this what we call ransomware attack that is making the file not being able to read, to making the file unreadable, that will now make it a very big challenge for Azimio, because server itakuwa imefunguliwa lakini the files are encrypted. When we said encrypted, a file that is encrypted, a file that you can't read until it's decrypted. Maybe the person who can decrypt, maybe they are the only Smartmatec people again. They allow you to see the server, but they've decrypted the files, so you can't be able to tell the transactional messages. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just trying to respond to one of my loyal subscribers who told me that the files, maybe they are deleting. Maybe they might not be deleting those files, but they can decide to encrypt the transaction details so that you cannot see what happened. You will just see that something was happened on a particular day, but you cannot see the details, because the most important thing is to see the details. So another thing that we suspect can be done, apart from just deleting those forms or deleting the transactional logs, is something we call in programming stored procedure. So stored procedure, I mean, I'm sorry, today I'm using technical terms. A stored procedure would basically be like a process, you know, umetengeneza kama formula yako, unasema kwamba every time I receive one, I should save one, you know. So I will give that stored procedure one, it will pick that one and store it at the Bomas center. For instance, I can say that every time I give the stored procedure this cup, it should pick this cup and store it in a cabinet. I can as well tell the stored procedure that every time I give you this cup, divide it into two, then store the cup in two parts. I don't know whether you get the point. So the stored procedure receives something, performs something that is commanded to do, and then does exactly what is supposed to be done. Like for instance, a stored procedure could be commanded to receive a form from the KIMS kit, and then take that form from the KIMS kit, send it to Bomas of Kenya, where it was the National Tailing Center, and when it relays it at the Bomas Tailing Center, it should submit it in a PDF format, in a different format. So this stored procedure will receive the JPEG, which is not editable, and send it, convert it to a PDF, which is PDF format, which is editable for certain functions to be done, and then send it to Bomas of Kenya. So that is the analogy I used here is of a cup. I give the stored procedure this cup, it will pick it. Then upon picking this cup, it will divide the cup into two, because the stored procedure was commanded by Smartmatec guys to receive the cup, divide it into two, and then store the cup in twos. Or receive the cup, break it, and then store it in pieces so that you cannot trace. So I don't know whether you understand my point. I mean, I'm just trying to be, I mean, nimejaribu sana nieleze in a way that is understandable. So two things we've talked about in this issue of whether the servers can be tampered with. Of course, they can be tampered with. Maybe the stored procedure back there at the back end where that anonymous server or mysterious server is situated, maybe that stored procedure is commanded to be receiving and doing action X. So Smartmatec can decide that let us change this stored procedure formula so that when the ICT person for Azimio gets to access it, he will not be able to tell what we did with the forms. So when he tries to investigate the stored procedure, ataona kwamba stored procedure inafanya kazi yake sawa, ina receive inaweka vile iko, receive inaweka. Kumbe initially it was programmed in another way whereby it was to receive a form and then do adjustments on the figures, then post something there. Or it was said that every time you receive form X, go to another storage server, pick an equivalent form X which has details that we've already preset. I mean, I'm just trying to be, kueleza hii kitu vizuri. Ni kitu mpaka tuimalize, ladies and gentlemen. Lazima tuimalize. Scenarios ziko tatu. One, transaction logs tumeongelea kwamba zinaweza kutolewa. Two, tumeongelea kitu kinaitwa stored procedure ambayo sijui, lakini inaweza kuwa labda ilitumika. Sasa hii stored procedure pia tumesema kwamba inaweza kuwa imekucommanded kwamba ikireceive form Y igawanye iweke form X and Z. But then again, this stored procedure inaweza kuwa imekucommanded kwamba ikireceive form with serial number X, it should go to there another anonymous storage server somewhere whereby forms are stored there, where forms were pre-stored there in waiting for any form of that kind if you were received. So maybe they might have said that anytime you receive a form from Changamwe constituency, a form from Likoni constituency, a form from Kilifi County Police Station X, or a form from Nyeri, a form from Kiambu, anytime you receive these forms, always go to another storage somewhere, pick an equivalent form ambayo iko na figures ambayo tumeamua hizi figures iwe Raila apate 5, huyu mwingine apate 10, Wajakoya apate 6, David Mwaura apate 1. So that is already preset there. Form 34A nyingine iko kando. So receive from XYZ, go to storage, pick from XYZ. That is what you send to IEBC. And then the people on the ground there wanaambiwa kwamba now go back and edit those from 34As, because you understand that two sets of forms were submitted to the market. One ilikuwa inatumika na au IBC kujaza, but then there is another copy ilikuwa inatumika for cooking. So if from XYZ imetoka from the storage ikaenda huko, then from XYZ should be written by somewhere again. Someone should write those figures somewhere, so that wakati ambapo tunaenda kwa Supreme Court tukiambiwa kwamba form 34 XYZ si ni hii, unaambiwa kwamba hapana, sio hiyo, ni hii. That's why you find that there was that scenario in Supreme Court whereby ilikuwa Julia Soweto akitoa hii demonstration, anaambia hapana, hiyo form sio kweli, form ni hii. I don't know whether you understand my point. I'm just trying to bring some sense into this issue of whether server inaweza kuwa deleted. And we've said the details can be deleted. It depends with how Smartmatec programmed their server. If they made the server not undeletable, then maybe it's not going to be deletable. It's not going to be easy to delete them. But if they do delete them, there is always the logs, these transaction logs. But again, we said that there is the issue of ransomware. Ransomware can again is a kind of attack that can lead to that log you see readable. So those are some of the details that we find in this whole issue of server coming as a deleted. Ladies and gentlemen, as usual, take your time, subscribe to this channel, also give us your feedback, and may you stay safe, stay blessed until we catch up again in our next analysis.